Hi everybody, here is my Google for Education presentation. I'm going to start off talking just a little about Chrome. It is Google's browser. Generally it's rated the best kind of browser in the world. It's compatible with pretty much every operating system. It's fast, it has good safety protocols, and you can customize it. If you look kind of at comparisons between other browsers, it doesn't necessarily win every category every time, but overall it's consistently really good. I've used pretty much all these other browsers, and at this point I don't really think that I'm going to go back to them. I really like Chrome. As far as a search engine, that's what Google does. It's what they started off as, was a search engine. The interface, I really like how clean and uncluttered it is. It's not distracting to the kids when they're trying to search for things. It doesn't have pictures popping up everywhere. Google itself even is a word that's commonly used to describe looking up information on the web right now, and I really like how valid their search results tend to be. And I also like that it has a safe search option. And for those of us that are in higher ed right now, Google Scholar is really handy as well, where you can get those scholarly articles. Gmail would be Google's email client. Again, has a clean, simple to use interface. It can be customized. You can change your backgrounds and themes and things. It's really easy to attach other G Suite app items to it. Like it's easy to attach a doc or a sheet to it. And you can turn off Gmail for groups of students. In my district, you have to be in, I believe, 7th grade before you get access to Gmail. And this just shows you kind of what the Gmail interface looks like. And again, mine has been customized. But again, there's not a lot of extra stuff around the sides to distract you. Okay, Google Calendar. The calendar apps, they're all pretty similar. It's a calendar. You can send invitations. You can track who's RSVP to your invitations. It syncs with any device, and you can access it offline. If you can even edit it offline, and then when you reconnect, it will sync back up. This is what the calendar interface can look like. If you're looking at the month view, this is my FHSU calendar, which doesn't have much on it, but that's what it looks like. Okay, Google Sites is where you can create your own website. It is very user-friendly. Some programs are a lot more difficult to use, but this one is pretty intuitive. And one of the best things about it is you can share a site you're working on with someone else, and you can work on it together. I was thinking students could use it to create digital portfolios that they could show to parents at conferences, and then you don't have to store those big bulky portfolios in your room. And access can be restricted to sites for groups of students as well. This is an example of a site that I've created for my kids. This one we were talking about the Boston Massacre. And then another one I've created was we were doing how to save the earth, and they made PSAs based on information they gathered from their research. Okay, Google Drive is Google's cloud storage. It does, again, sync across all devices. You don't have to worry about jump drives getting lost or stolen. You can access it offline on your phone. There's apps that will help you access it, and if you edit something offline, it will sync when you reconnect to the internet. An average person automatically gets 15 gigabytes of free storage. Things that you create on the Google apps like Slides, Docs, Sheets, Forms, they don't count towards that 15 gig total, which is nice. So you're actually getting more than 15 gigs. If you do become a GAFE district, you do get free unlimited storage. This kind of shows you what the Google Drive interface looks like. I would highly recommend that you become familiar with creating folders for your drive so that you don't have a giant mess of files. Okay, G Suite apps. This is kind of the meat and potatoes of Google for Education right now. I'm going to start off with Docs. Docs is comparable to Microsoft Word. Kind of the big difference is it's free. It does have fewer features, but for me, I teach 5th grade, I like that it has fewer features. It's less for them to kind of try to figure out how to use. Collaboration is so important with these. It's easy to share a document with other people and then you can work on it together. You can give people editing rights, or you can just make it where they can comment on what you've done, or you can even just make it where they can see it. And you can customize it with various add-ons. Very similar to Word. Again, the biggest difference, it's free. My one gripe with it, columns. I really wish they would add columns to that. Okay, moving on to Sheets. Sheets would be comparable to Microsoft Excel. Again, it's free, fewer features. You can't do quite as complex formulas on Sheets, and it doesn't have, you can't do as much data on it, but again, it's a good starting place for younger students to learn how to use a spreadsheet. Collaboration, again, is important. This is something that some of my kids are working on right now for Genius Hour, which they called Guinness Hour. But they're making a spreadsheet to track startup costs for the sporting goods store that they want to open as part of their Genius Hour project. And they've shared this, and they're all adding kind of information as they come across it. And again, it can be customized. Forms doesn't really have a comparable Microsoft product. It is where you can create quizzes, surveys, parent questionnaires, lots of different things like that. I've even heard of people using it as a rubric system. You can attach the responses from the forms to a sheet so that you can analyze your data easily. There are a variety of questions that you can use. And if you're using things like multiple choice, drop-down boxes, and check boxes on a quiz, it will auto-grade them for you. And you can assign very different point totals to those questions and things, and then you can go in and self-grade short answer and paragraph responses. This is an example of a form that I made. This one is a parent questionnaire, and then here you can see how it's already been tied to a sheet that you could open, or you can look at a summary of the data that you got, and you can look at individual answers on it as well. Okay, moving on to Drawings. Drawings is a basic image creation program. Again, it's free, collaborating just like all the other devices, or sorry, all the other apps. Oops. This is an example of what some of my kids are doing right now for Genius Hour. They're designing their own adult coloring book. So this is a design they've started working on, and they've gotten a lot more advanced as they've gone, as they've done a few more designs. Their first designs were pretty basic, and now we're moving towards more fancy things like this. Okay, slides would be comparable to Microsoft PowerPoint. Again, free, fewer features. Again, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, do you use all the features on PowerPoint? If you don't, why bother paying for it when there's a good free alternative? If you look at a comparison between the two, I mean, the Google products, yes, they're free. Yes, they have less features, but for a lot of us, that's a good thing. It teaches them how to use the product without all the distracting things that come along with something that's a little bit more spendy. And then they can take what they know about the Google products and apply it to more complex programs like the Windows products. Okay, Chromebooks are kind of Google's response to kind of tablets and iPads specifically. They're kind of a hybrid between the two. They do have touch screens, but they also come with an onboard computer, or keyboard rather. They work really well with G Suite. Again, that's to be expected because they do use Chrome as their operating system. Kind of the real place where they outshine iPads, in my opinion, would be price. They're very cost effective. You can get a pretty good quality Chromebook for $200, and they load so fast and they work really well, and there's not a whole lot of upkeep on them. You can't add a lot of software and things to them because they're not meant to have programs added to them. Generally, you store everything in the cloud on Drive, but you do have access to lots of apps and extensions that you can use to meet your needs. And this is just kind of a comparison between Chromebooks and iPads. The big place where they win for me is price. They're a lot cheaper. Okay, Google Classroom is Google's learning management system. It helps you create a paperless classroom, or you can go as paperless as you're comfortable going. You don't have to do everything online. You are able to create differentiated assignments because you don't have to assign every assignment to every kid. You can choose just one kid if you want to. A lot of apps are starting to be able to be connected to Google Classroom, like Epic Books and Khan Academy. You can load your roster from Google Classroom into those. It helps you stay organized because it creates folders in your drive. The beauty of it is that kids can't lose their work because it's online, and you actually don't even have to wait for them to turn it in to see what they're doing. You can look at what they're doing as they do it, and you can give them feedback as they go rather than waiting until the end. This is an example of what your home screen on Google Classroom might look like. Mine actually was a lot more cluttered up until last week. I've already started archiving some of my classes because the school year is coming to an end. And then this is an example of what the class stream can look like. It will let me zoom in. Come on. Okay, so you can see at a quick glance, you can see how many kids have finished the assignment. You can see how many have not finished it. And if you were to click on this not done, it would tell you specifically which kids have not turned it in. You can attach like PDFs and things to it, information for them to look at. Some of these are assignments that are not assigned to every kid. These are Genius Hour projects where they're working in groups to work on things like that. You can assign forms. This one was a quiz, another quiz that kids had taken. Okay, customization. This is kind of a big thing for Google. It's not necessarily one size fits all. You can find extensions, add-ons, apps, and scripts that you can use to help enhance the technology use in your classroom, and you can find all kinds of things for free that you can use in your class. And when it comes to scripts, if you don't see what you need, if you know how to code in Java, you can make your own scripts. Some of my current favorites right now, you can see right here, Kami is my current newest favorite. It's for annotating on PDFs, and it's really been helpful in my class. In conclusion, G Suite gives educators the tools they need to create a 21st century learning environment, and it helps kids get the skills they need to be successful in the future. They can learn to collaborate online and how to collaborate in the correct way online, and how to get social skills online and things like that. And again, it's free. We don't have to spend money that we don't have on some of these products when we can find things for free. And my biggest advice to people would be, don't be afraid to mess up. I mean, you're not going to do anything catastrophic. And even if you don't figure it out, you'd be surprised what your kids can figure out and can teach you about how to use it. So I would say just give it a try, and you might surprise yourself with what you're able to do. Good luck!